Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Gridiron Gospel, where we religiously know football. I'm your host, Will McDonald, along with my co-host,
Jayson.
And right now we are going to start with the AP Top 25 teams for, week 4 of the college football season. Obviously at number one, we have the Ohio State Buckeyes, 3-0. Obviously, with their number one win coming against Texas, it was at home, but that has set the foundation for the season there. At number two, we have a new addition to the top 25 in terms of recency bias. We have Miami, who has gone 4-0, most notably with their last win coming against Florida. At number three, we have a controversial opinion here, as Penn State is at number three, despite not having beaten a ranked team. Jayson, can I get your thoughts on that?
I would say Penn State is severely overrated in my opinion. I would say James Franklin has had a history of not winning the big games, and I would say number three is being overly generous with them. I would say they're maybe like 7, 8 team.
Now we talk about Penn State not having a good record in the big games. Historically, under James Franklin, they have gone 1-16 with their only top 5 win against an AP team coming against Ohio State at home in 2016. Do you think James Franklin can get it done on Saturday against the Ducks?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt with it being a whiteout game, and Penn State normally wins those games, I think. So I would say Penn State does have that advantage, but I think Oregon is just a much better team.
All right, now we move to number 4, LSU, with a tough test on the road in Ole Miss. How do we think the Tigers fare in that matchup?
LSU, Ole Miss. I would say LSU is, I would say they're going to win by like double digits, but yet again, they did struggle against Louisiana Tech too as well. So at home, but I would say LSU can get the job done.
Should prove to be a great game on Saturday. I'm
Definitely.
very much looking forward to that. And another great game of the week is always the great game of Georgia-Alabama. Alabama has struggled early on with their loss to
Florida State.
With their loss to the rising Florida State, which I am personally very surprised by, with their QB transfer from Boston College, Thomas Castellanos. And now we move to number 6, the Oregon Ducks. They faced Penn State on the road at 7:30 on Saturday. And as we discussed, I think Penn State is a very overrated team. I don't think they can get it done against the Ducks. Now we move to number 7, Oklahoma, who has shot out to a good 4-0 start, but recency news proves something bad has happened for them in their Heisman candidate, John Mateer, being sidelined for a couple weeks. Jayson, can I get your thoughts on that?
He is being sidelined for 3 weeks with a thumb surgery, and it took him from being like top 4 in the Heisman candidate to just being completely just wiped out. And I think he's been that guy of the team. He is Oklahoma. So I would say if Oklahoma can win without Mateer, then kudos to them. But Oklahoma was facing like another 2023 Florida State situation, like starting off high, then losing their quarterback, and then.
Speaking of Florida State, off to a great 3-0 start, despite not having much competition besides beating Alabama at home in their opening game. On Friday, they take on the Cavaliers of Virginia in what could prove to be a very easy win for them as they traverse through their season with an upcoming test against number 2 Miami.
I would say Florida State is a team that can most definitely win the ACC with Clemson's recent collapse. Well.
And at number 9, we have Texas A&M. A&M has been off to a strong start, most recently beating Notre Dame on the road 41-40. This upcoming week they have Auburn, who just lost to Oklahoma at home, or on the road, and that could prove to be a bit of a test for Texas A&M, I think. Jayson, what are your thoughts on that?
I'd say Texas A&M at home is a very good team, and I would say Texas A&M wins by like double digits.
All right, I like that call. Next, we have another team from Texas at number 10, with Texas at 3-1, with their loss being to Ohio State on the road in Columbus. What do we think about Arch Manning's start to the year, and how do you think he will progress as a quarterback in a heavily contested SEC conference?
He's got media criticism. He's got fan criticism. He's got the own Texas student section criticism. But I think with this being his first full season starting, I feel like the guy can improve on what he's doing. I mean, just look at the last name. He's just built with just great quarterbacks. So, I mean, I think he'll be much better. I think he'll relate to his uncles and look for like advice on how to get better at least. But I would say Arch can most definitely get better and take Texas to the playoffs.
Could not agree more there. Now we have number 11 Indiana, who most recently was a surprise last year, making it all the way to the college football playoff before ultimately losing to Notre Dame. Now their story of the year has been their Heisman
leading quarterback.
Candidate quarterback in Fernando Mendoza. Now, do you think the Hoosiers can make it back to the playoffs, or will it just be a bust of a season?
One thing I will say about Indiana is getting Mendoza from Cal is a very great pickup too. And I think what Cignetti over there, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Cignetti.
Yeah, Cignetti over there, very good job. He claims he wins all the time. He's proven it right here. But to answer your question, I think Indiana can get the job done. And I would say Indiana is a favorite to go undefeated this year. But
All right, I like that. I mean, especially considering their schedule, they don't have a lot of tough opponents. They have Houston on the road this Saturday at 7, so both teams are undefeated there. Might prove to be a bit of a difficult task. Yep. And we move to number 13, Ole Miss. As we previously mentioned, they have the rough test of being at home versus, LSU. Now that could prove to be one of the best games of the day, even though we have already such a jam-packed schedule. We have Ohio State, Washington at 3:30, and we have two marquee games, Penn State and Oregon and Penn State in Happy Valley, and you have LSU and you have Georgia, Alabama. All right, now we have number 14, Iowa State, and if I'm correct, that came with some controversy. Jayson, you said they should not be ranked at that.
They should not be ranked 14th. I don't think they are a top 15 team. At most top 20, but yet again, with them only beating Arkansas State on the road by 8, I feel like you should beat them by a little bit more because you should be a very good team. You are 4-0. That doesn't, being 4-0 right now this early season doesn't really prove anything. So I'm going to say Iowa State's going to have a downfall this year.
Now, they did beat Kansas State in the Battle of Farmageddon earlier on in the year, but other than that, I completely agree. Now we move to number 15, Tennessee, with their quarterback, Joey Aguilar, proving doubters wrong after transferring from UCLA. And they have Mississippi State on the road this week. And do you think the Vols get it done against the Bulldogs?
Absolutely. I think they can get the job done against Mississippi State. And Aguilar, the funny thing about him is he actually never played it down at UCLA. He transferred there in the offseason, and then he transferred again. Originally last year, he played at App State. And the only reason why he's at Tennessee is because of that Nico Emeli. I don't even know how to say his name. Nico over there at UCLA. So that's the only reason why he transferred out of UCLA, technically. But him at Tennessee right now, I think the boy's doing wonders right now. He's playing some good ball right now.
Boy, has that not panned out for Nico over there at UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
Now we move on to the surprise number 16. We have Georgia Tech at 4-0, with their most notable win coming against Clemson with a last-second rushed field goal to beat Clemson at home. And I personally think Georgia Tech could be a threat to move into the top 12, especially if they maybe beat Georgia later in the year. Georgia could not. Georgia's shaky towards the end, in my opinion.
I would say Georgia towards the typically when they play Georgia Tech, they always just beat them like down hard. But last year proved that Georgia Tech can take them far into the game. I think Haynes King can beat Georgia and then Fish should move into the ACC championship game. What about you?
Certainly one of the better games in the rivalry weekend last year. We had the 7 or 8 overtime game in Georgia where Georgia ultimately prevailed on the last-second 2-point conversion. But, Haynes King, he's probably the best thing to happen to Georgia Tech since Calvin Johnson went there. Now, of course, you have number 17, Alabama, who has had very disappointing seasons based on their program's history in the past 2 years under Kalen DeBoer. Who just has not really proven himself as a head coach, except for the national championship appearance in Washington.
I think he's got more unranked losses than Nick Saban had in his entire coaching career, right?
Yes, and that is not at all what Alabama fans are looking for.
Not the standard over there.
No.
Alabama standard, natties every year.
That is completely true. Next we have number 18 Vanderbilt. And
surprise team.
And we had another bit of a surprise team there. 4-0. They have beaten South Carolina on the road 31-7. That was a bit of a surprise win. And their most recent win coming against Georgia State at home, 70-21.
That was a revenge game from last year when Georgia State beat Vandy. So that was technically a revenge game, but
Vandy has looked good in recent years. But they have a tough test coming up against Alabama, in which they beat Alabama last year at home. But they have to travel on the road to Tuscaloosa, which I think could be a better game than people are making it out to be. Next, at number 19, we have the Michigan Wolverines.
Overrated.
At 3-1. I could not agree more with that statement, especially being a Buckeye fan.
I'm not saying overrated as a bias. I'm just saying I just blatantly think just overrated program since I think that national championship was a fluke.
I have many opinions on that, but I'm just not going to share that right now.
Smart choice.
Yep. Michigan, bit of a tough schedule this year. They lost to Oklahoma on the road in Bryce Underwood's first big test as a Wolverine. And he did struggle a bit against a previously ranked Nebraska team, only beating them by 3. And Michigan definitely has a tougher schedule this year. They have USC on the road coming up in 2 weeks. They have Washington at home. They have the Michigan State game, and of course the game at the end of the year against the Buckeyes at home. And I might just be speculating here, but I think this is the year that they lose to Ohio State. That I might eat my words on that, but I'm just gonna give my hot take here first and say Ohio State comes out on top in that matchup.
And I would also like to say the stats against Michigan-Oklahoma game. Bryce Underwood threw 9 for 24, and typically as a D1 college quarterback, that's not really good. It's awful. But yet again, that was his first big test, but yet again, he can most definitely redeem himself against USC, MSU, and Ohio State at the end of the year. But yet again, he has proven he can beat the awful teams like Central Michigan and Nebraska. So I would say Underwood right now, I don't know what to say about him. What about you?
I think he still has to prove himself in the bigger games that Michigan has to play later in this year, especially against Ohio State at the end of the year.
Oh.
Next, we have the number 20th ranked team in the land, the Missouri Tigers. Missouri's most prominent win has come against South Carolina, in which they beat them 29-20 last week, but they have a tough test of the schedule the remainder of the season. Playing Alabama at home, playing Vandy on the road, Texas A&M at home. Oklahoma on the road, and that is just about one of the toughest schedules in the country, except for the Florida Gators, who are unranked.
I believe Mizzou can get it done when they have the better Penn State quarterback in Bu Pribola, and beating Kansas, their rival, good job. Beating South Carolina, a hurt South Carolina team, good job. And I think Mizzou can get it done against Alabama and A&M. Vandy may be a tough challenge because for some odd reason, Vandy's turning into a dynasty.
Yeah. You know, that's the beauty of college football. You never know what to expect.
Yeah.
Next, we move on to the number 21st ranked team in the nation, the USC Trojans, who have had a bit of a light schedule recently, but I think that's definitely going to pick up in the next coming weeks. They have Illinois on the road, Illinois, that was a disappointing loss last week to the Indiana Hoosiers, losing 63-10. That's rough.
Pitiful.
But back to USC, they have Illinois on the road, Michigan at home, Notre Dame on the road. Nebraska could be a tough game, and Oregon on the road to almost close it out a bit. Now, I don't think they're a good enough team to go undefeated, but I think it could be a solid 1-2 loss season, and that could be a topic of discussion come the ranking of 12 for the college football playoff in the future.
Me personally, I don't think USC should even be ranked. They haven't proven they should be ranked. They haven't done anything to impress me, because only beating MSU by 14 points, I don't think MSU is good at all. But yet again, that doesn't prove anything to me at all.
Now, we have a very controversial opinion here. Number 22, Notre Dame at 1-2. I mean, there are definitely some teams that should be in there over them. And Notre Dame just has not had a great response to the incredible year that they had last year. And Jayson, I believe you said they should not be ranked at all, and I could not agree more.
Yeah, they shouldn't be ranked, but yet again, they shouldn't be far out the rankings. Like, there is a top 30, top 35. Notre Dame should be in there. But yet again, I'm also giving them credit because they didn't get blown out by Miami or A&M. They lost by 3 to Miami. They lost by 1 to A&M on that last-second touchdown, which absolutely shocked my mind. I didn't think Marcel Reed could even do that. But yet again, giving up 30 points to Purdue should not happen. So yet again, I think Notre Dame is at best a top 35 team.
All right. Next, we move on to the final 3 ranked teams, and we're just going to cover these over pretty quickly. Number 23, Illinois, steep drop from number 9 last week after losing by 53 points to Indiana. 3-1, I don't have a lot of hope for the rest of their season, as they have to play Ohio State, and I'm assuming just some more good Big Ten teams. 24, you got the TCU Horned Frogs making their first appearance of the season in the college football poll.
I like the quarterback.
At 3-0, and what do you like about that quarterback?
I think he has proven that they have a passing game again. Remember Max Duggan?
Max Duggan,
Yes,
Quentin
Max
Johnston.
Duggan, Quentin Johnston. They had that beautiful passing game that took him to the Natty, and I haven't watched much of their games, but yet again, I have also seen that Josh Hoover, very good ball player.
Yeah.
I think he can be a first-round pick this year.
And number 25, to round out the top 25, we have the BYU Cougars. And to tell you the truth, I do not know much about what they have accomplished this season.
I know their quarterback, Bear, whatever his name is actually halfway decent.
Well, they're off to a 3-0 start, and they are on the road against Colorado this week. That'll be a 10-15 game, as Colorado has just been incredibly disappointing in their stint with Coach Prime at the helm.
No. Talk about Colorado. I don't know what Dion was thinking by benching Caden Salter after week 1, because and then not playing Julian Lewis, but then you're playing your third string QB, like really, and then just getting your, handed to Houston. Houston is. I don't remember the last time Houston was even good at football.
That is certainly a relevant statement.
And then giving them 20 to Wyoming, who barely beat Akron. Like that's pitiful. I don't know what he's doing over there.
Now, I did also just want to touch on our Duquesne Dukes. Off to a bit of a disappointing start after losing 51-7 on the road against Akron. And it has just proven to be a tough test against these D1 FBS teams. But, I think the Dukes will bounce back this week against, who we have?
Yeah, I'm looking. I haven't, my apologies, fellas. I don't really keep track of the schedules.
No, that's completely fair. I believe we
Yeah.
have New Haven this week at home.
Oh, yes, New Haven. I haven't heard much about them. I've heard they are pretty good, but I mean, we are good at home too, so I mean.
I like our chances at home.
Yes, and to say Akron, it is Duquesne's second FBS opponent. Obviously, we know the first opponent didn't really turn out well against Pitt. Akron is a team which I'm surprised put up more than 20 points in a game. It's just the running game was very good. I did see that touchdown from Ness Davis. Kudos to him for winning one of the NEC Players of the Week. I think it was Players of the Week or Plays of the Week, whichever one it was. But the passing game, that has to ramp up a little bit. And also, how many times did he get sacked? However many times he got sacked, if it's more than 4, that has to change, no matter the level of competition. Should be. And Ben Finley of Akron, I'm shocked. Anyways, continue.
Definitely an interesting performance for the Zips and the Dukes. Now, just the final topic of discussion for college football. Just wanted to give our Heisman picks for right now and our Heisman hopefuls and who we think might actually take away with the Heisman.
All right, so right now, according to FanDuel, I'm just looking at this, we have Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, Jeremiah Smith, Carson Beck, Marcel Reed, and Gunnar Stockton are the first 6 players I see. And do you think Mendoza is going to stay in the top 4 at the end of the year?
I think Mendoza currently has a case right now, especially with the way he's been playing. But ultimately, I don't think he pans out that well. I think Nussmeier maybe jumps him. Maybe we see a bit more out of Jeremiah Smith, and hopefully he can become the first wide receiver to win it since Devontae Smith won it at Alabama a couple of years ago. And, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Time. And Dante Moore is a guy who I'm really high on. I personally think he should come do Pittsburgh, because we need a QB, but I think Dante Moore can be that next Oregon QB that can lead them to a natty, like what Marcus Mariota did back in 2014. Obviously lost to your Buckeyes, but I think Dante Moore will be a top 4 finalist. Mendoza, it's 50-50. It's only week 5. Jeremiah Smith, yes, I think he'll finish top 4. Carson Beck, I don't know. What about you?
I'm honestly just excited to see how the season progresses for these young men, and hopefully, I personally hope Jeremiah Smith takes the Heisman, but I'm just excited to see how the rest of the season pans out. And now you mentioned that you wanted Pittsburgh to acquire Dante Moore.
Yes.
This is where we switch to the NFL side of football.
Right.
Let's discuss this Thursday night game this past week in which the Bills beat the Dolphins 31-21. And I personally think the Bills can run away with that division very easily, especially considering the mediocre competition that they have in that division in the Dolphins, the Jets, and sadly, my Pats just aren't off to a good start this year.
Bills to the Super Bowl? I mean, are we hoping for that?
I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders quite yet. I think their recent playoff performances have been disappointing, even if they have come at the hands of the Chiefs. I think they could make it to the AFC Championship, but I don't think I'm ready to call them Super Bowl contenders quite yet.
I am now, because after seeing how the Kansas City Chiefs are playing, I mean, I don't think they'll make it past the divisional round, and that's a first in Mahomes' career. So
I personally think we could see the Ravens make quite a push.
And no, I don't think so. After watching last night's game, I don't know what's happening over there in Baltimore, because, I mean, Lamar putting up MVP numbers. Defense is looking like a block of Swiss cheese. I don't know what is happening right now. Zach Orr, he needs to lock in because, I mean, you have all that talent out there. You have a great defense. You've had it for years. And then you're just giving up 38 points to the Ben Johnson-less Lions, who put up at least 45 points a game last year.
Now switching over to the Packers-Browns side of the game.
I'm shocked at it.
That was quite a surprise win for the Browns, especially considering their opponent, the Green Bay Packers, haven't recently signed Micah Parsons to that deal. Do Packers fans need to be concerned?
Absolutely not. No. They should not be worried. It is week 3. Yes, it is the Browns. Yes, anyone can beat anyone in this league. Hey, Steelers lost to the Browns last year when Jameis Winston was playing. So, I mean, anything can happen. Well, I mean, I think Packers are still Super Bowl contenders no matter what, no matter the games they lose. I think Jordan Love is an MVP candidate. I'm just saying.
Certainly a hot take there.
It's not.
We have the Colts and the Titans next as Daniel Indiana Jones continues to dominate with the Colts. And that is especially surprising considering
set a record.
Considering his stint with the Giants. Now,
Colts have set a record by only punting once in the first 3 weeks of the season. I don't know the last time that's happened, but I mean, for a Daniel Jones led team, that just proves that whatever the Giants were doing, I don't know what they were doing over there.
Hopefully they can keep it going next week. And now we switch over to our teams, Jayson, your Steelers, and my Pats. I am very disappointed with the Pats' performance, giving up 5 turnovers, Drake May with the interception and fumble. We had 2 fumbles in the red zone, and just not a good game at all. But the Steelers did come away with that 21-14. Jayson, what can I get your take on the Steelers' performance?
5 turnovers, 4 fumbles, 1 pick. I don't mind that game. Okay, yes, we only converted 14 points out of those 5 turnovers, but yet again, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this win because the defense finally didn't give up 30 points in a game. That's all I care about.
Certainly
But yet again, we still need to work on the run because we can't let Ramondre Stevenson go nuts again. And then us having the Vikings and double next week, I'm so excited to watch that game. 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, 9:30 kickoff. That's your
Vikings
brave man
have
to
a
me.
very good offense. We gave up 32 points against the Jets, so I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going to happen next week.
Should prove to be an interesting battle as we move to the NFC South with the Falcons and the Panthers surprisingly beating the Falcons 30-0 at home, in which they limited Bijan Robinson to almost nothing. And Bryce Young with a bit of a legacy game, if I may say so. And I personally think if you're a Panthers fan, I would feel very good with that win, especially with the progression of Bryce Young as your potential franchise quarterback.
Yes, I still think Bryce Young is the guy in Carolina. No one should give up on him. They haven't done him any favors. They haven't done any offensive line work with them. Only thing that they've done is drafted Xavier Legette, which, I mean, fancy team, come on. And then Ted Roy McMillan. He's been that guy on the offensive side. So, I mean, I think Bryce Young's future is good.
Now we move over to the Saints-Seahawks game, in which the Saints just have looked absolutely pitiful this entire year as the Seahawks take away a 44-13 win at home.
I can't say kudos to the Seahawks because they haven't played anyone good yet. But yet again, I would say Sam Darnold's looking like he's back to his Minnesota days, which is last year. But throwing 14 for 18 with 218 yards and 2 touchdowns, and mind you, that was mostly in the first half.
Fair point.
Yeah.
All right, next, we move over to the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers, in which we've had just disappointing news if you're a Niners fan. You have Nick Bosa out for the season.
Torn ACL.
With the torn ACL, and that is just not what you want to hear about your franchise defensive player. I know you have Fred Warner in the backfield there, but Bosa's just a guy that you cannot replace on defense.
Yes. Bosa's a game-changing defender. He's proven that over the years when healthy, and he was the main reason why the Niners went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yes.
And I would say the 49ers, you better pray Brock Purdy comes back sometime because Mac Jones only putting up 16 points against the Cardinals defense, that's pitiful. I don't care what your stats say. I don't care what the box score watchers say. that was an awful performance from Mac Jones, and I would say that because he ruined me in fantasy.
Hey, look, Mac Jones is a better quarterback than people realize. He did take the Pats to a playoff appearance when he was at the helm there, but I'm honestly just glad to see him shining for the 49ers. He's a better quarterback than people think. Next, we move over to a disappointing game with the Chiefs and the Giants. Chiefs off to a 1-2 start. Not what you want, especially after the recent Super Bowl appearances, but they did get the job done against the Giants as it is now 22-9. They move it to 1-2 on the season. Giants at 0-3.
And I would say for any of you Giants fans out there, I'd be shocked if there are. Jackson Dart is now starting for the Giants against the Chargers, so that should have a new identity for the Giants. And I would say they have a future in the run game in Cam Scadaboo. Guy's looking pretty good.
Definitely some things to look forward to if you are a Giants fan.
Russell Wilson being benched, I would say that was due time. Brian Dable was just being stubborn with that.
I personally believe that's a very difficult decision for him to make, especially considering that QB room. You also have Jameis Winston.
I don't think that was a difficult decision at all, because if any of you saw the Cowboys Giants game, Russell Wilson in overtime, what was he doing?
It is truly a big question that needs to be asked, and if you are in New York. Next, we move over to the Bengals and the Vikings battle, the LSU wide receivers and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. But it was not too much of a battle in that game.
I don't think there was a battle.
As the Vikings came away with it 48-10. And if I'm correct, Jamar Chase just not performing to the level that he is expected to perform at.
5 receptions for 50 yards. He had 6 targets. So you can't really do much when you're only being targeted 6 times.
Can't do much, and your franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow is out 3 months. So Jake Browning throwing you the ball is definitely a bit difficult to
running
adjust.
game. They don't have a running game because their starter, Chase Brown, 10 carries for 3 yards.
Just not what you want to see.
That's pitiful.
Just not what you want to see in Cincinnati.
And then for the Vikings, Carson Wentz turning back the clock. Yes, that is a bit of an overreaction. That is the Bengals defense. But yet again, Jordan Mason showing up for replacing of Aaron Jones, and Justin Jefferson, 75 yards. So the battle. There was no battle, but. All right.
Next, moving on to the Rams-Eagles game and what might be the game of the week, especially with the late heroics of Jordan Davis with a blocked field goal to return it to the house for a game-winning touchdown.
It's the most unnecessary touchdown of all time.
Certainly a great ending to a very close game. Eagles come away with it 33-26. Yeah. Next, we're going to go down south to Tampa Bay, where they played the Jets, who definitely put up a bit more of a fight, definitely almost came back for the win, but the Buccaneers I think they're going to be a scary team in the NFC, personally.
Bill Riley's 4 or 5 block kicks that altered the games. That's why Red Zone calls it the witching hour, because, that stuff happens.
I honestly think, I think the Buccaneers are going to be a team to watch in the NFC, especially with that elite wide receiver room.
Baker's pretty good.
Hey, Baker's an elite quarterback.
Ibuka's pretty good.
Ibuka, he's my personal pick to win Rookie of the Year, but definitely an interesting wide receiver room to look at.
The Buccaneers have to do is get better at the running game, because look at these stats: 25 carries for 66 yards from Bucky Irving.
Definitely not what you want to see.
Yeah, that's not what you. Bucky Irving's pretty good ball player too, so that's kind of disappointing that he's doing that. But
I definitely think they could run away with that division.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think there is any competition in that division at all.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, there's definitely not.
Now we have the Raiders and the Commanders. As the Commanders, quite frankly, a statement win there, 41-24 over the Raiders, and Jaden Daniels just continues to
Jaden Daniels was not playing.
Jaden Daniels was not playing.
Marcus Mariota against his former team went 15 for 21, 207 yards, averaged almost 10 yards a throw for a touchdown, and running in for a touchdown. Pretty good numbers against your former team. I would say
That's pretty good numbers for that. And then go over here to Vegas where Geno Smith absolutely just started lasering the ball. You may think by the score he had terrible numbers, but no, they were actually pretty good. 19 for 29, 289 with 3 touchdowns, getting sacked 5 times. Can't let that happen. Trey Tucker, 3 touchdowns, pretty good. 9 targets for 8 catches, pretty good as well. I would say Brock Bowers, as that premier tight end, you should have more than like 4 catches. You should also have more than 5 targets because, yet again, you're that guy. And then the Raiders need to help Genty. Like, this dude has more yards after contact than actual rushing yards in the season. You know that?
Yeah, that is truly something to be amazed by. So definitely a tough start out there in Las Vegas, but we now move over to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. Jaguars come away with it 17-10, but Texans off to a 0-3 start. And I hate to be this guy, but C.J. Stroud hasn't really performed much, especially since his rookie year.
I will forever be that C.J. Stroud bandwagon. I will forever say the Texans are not doing him any favors with the offensive line. Trading away Tunsil, like really, you had that playoff team with that playoff O-line, and you traded away your premier left tackle. Like, that's not what you're supposed to do. At least he has Nico Collins to save him. So I mean, that's basically all I have to say. But I'm still on that C.J. Stroud bandwagon, and also Trevor Lawrence. No.
Nope. I a lot of opinions on Trevor Lawrence as a franchise quarterback, but
and then for the second or third overall pick, I feel like Travis Hunter should be like involved a lot more.
Maybe you should
one catch.
Maybe you should open up the playbook more for the dual threat wide receiver cornerback.
Right. What do you think he's more of, wide receiver or corner? Because I think he's wide receiver.
Personally, I think he should just stick to wide receiver.
Yes.
I think it's especially difficult to play both sides of the ball. It hasn't been done since Deion Sanders, obviously. But especially just with the competition in this league and the teams that they will have to face, I personally don't think it would make sense I think you just preserve him as a wide receiver and worry about your defense later. Next, we have the Denver Broncos and the San Diego Chargers, who currently personally, I think it's the biggest surprise of this NFL season has been Justin Herbert just absolutely balling out. And
I would say the LA Chargers are looking like another Super Bowl favorite. I'm throwing out that phrase everywhere, but I mean, I feel the Chargers are Super Bowl favorites. I mean, Broncos fans can't catch a break. I mean, how many times have they lost on a field goal?
too many to count.
Too much.
Yeah, too many to count.
At least they have their J.K. Dobbins is back as a Buckeyes fan. I mean, that must feel good. He's not injured.
Yeah, hopefully he can. Hopefully he can just continue this dominance. I mean,
what did Herbert do? Yes, Herbert. 300 yards, and I would safe to say Quentin Johnson finally has his confidence after 3 years in the league.
That Quentin Johnson definitely a bounce back year so far, especially considering
Can he be that wide receiver one they drafted him to be? We never know.
It'll just have to see as the season progresses on. Now we have the Sunday night game, or we had the Cowboys and the Bears,
Sunday was Giants,
in which the Cowboys disappointingly lost to the Chicago Bears of all teams.
Cowboys defense needs work, and I mean a lot of work. And everyone is blaming Dak Prescott for all this all these losses, but yet again, what's around him? Like, what's around him? Because his running game, cool. Javonte Williams, not bad. Jake Ferguson, good game. George Pickens, I don't like him.
He still got some rough feelings from being a former Steeler.
Locker room cancer. I'd say that. That's why we traded him. I don't really care. But,
seems to be a pattern with those Steelers wide receivers.
Yeah, Logan Martavis Bryant. Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams finally unleashed his arm. I mean, if you just look at that flea flicker pass that they had to Luther Burden, Luther Burden's finally getting involved about damn time. About time.
Yeah, certainly good to see if you are a Chicago fan, definitely.
Oh, yes.
Next, we move on to the final game of the week in the Monday Night Football game with the Lions and the Ravens. And Lions come away with a 38-30 win, but Ravens fans, those turnovers are costing you. Derrick Henry fumbling again. And,
Well, when was the last time it's actually the first time Derrick Henry's 10-year career that he's fumbled, I believe, it's 3 times in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Definitely a good game last night, and we are looking forward to the week ahead, as that will be a wrap on the Gridiron
Gospel.
on the Gridiron Gospel. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you later.